Good morning and happy Monday. We say happy Monday because for one thing, we always want to be in a good mood, right? But the great thing for us, our good friend Tiffany Ahlberg is on the show this morning, so she helps to kick things off, putting us in a good mood. Nice to see you.
Good morning.
So Ahlberg Audiology with 2 locations now, Cleveland and Athens.
Yes.
And you are a very practical audiologist, I think, Tiffany, because you want to meet people where they are, with what they can afford, and with real life kind of expectations. But you realize that not all hearing devices are the same, and sometimes you get the wrong one and you end up creating an additional problem for yourself rather than fixing it. Is that right?
Yeah, there's so many different types of hearing losses, and it's so important to fix the type of hearing loss that you have. More than anything, people just think about their lifestyle or their hearing loss, but there's a lifestyle component to it too. So there's different aspects that we have to address to make sure that we get the right thing for everybody.
What do you mean a lifestyle component?
So there's different levels of technology. So you have more simple, like the lesser expensive technologies are going to have not as many noise reduction features. As we progress and we go up in technology, the circuit of the computer that's inside the computer chip of the hearing aid is constantly evaluating for noise in the environment and helping to pick up voices and reduce the level of noise around you. So
Remember the old lesson in school about never make an assumption?
Yes.
Never assume?
Yes.
And yet I think so many of us probably do assume certain things about getting a hearing device, and we're probably 9 times out of 10 wrong. So my assumption would be that a hearing device would just go straight into my ear. Some can, but that's where you're saying you can create these problems.
Well, so there is technology level. There's so many different things. There's technology, and then there is different types of hearing devices, like some that go in the ear, some that go behind the ear. So I think, like with a lot of today's hearing losses, because noise-induced hearing loss is so prevalent, a lot of people will say, I don't have any trouble hearing, I just can't understand. And that's because they are hearing low tones, they're hearing bass sounds. If you put your hand on your throat and you make a sound, O, E, I,
You feel it.
A lot of people, I say most people, a lot of people don't have any hearing loss for those frequencies.
Okay.
It's the F, the S, the CH, the TH, the K, the T, like those high frequency consonants. So for example, if I said bake, most people don't have any trouble hearing A, but they have trouble hearing, was that bake or bait or bass? So it's those sounds at the end that give meaning to sound or to words that people have trouble hearing.
Okay.
So some hearing aids are going to cause blockage for these sounds that you can feel. Okay. And then we're creating another problem. We're creating a hearing loss where they don't have a hearing loss. So a very popular type of hearing device is one that has this little wire that goes in the ear, and so it allows the pass-through of sound for the frequencies that maybe someone doesn't have any hearing loss or they have very little hearing loss, but it allows us to greatly amplify those sounds where they need it so that they are hearing the S's, K's, T's, and CH's.
Okay.
So that's...
So when they come to you, and I know you're pretty humble, you know that you do what you do quite well, but you don't want to brag about it, so that'll be my job. If you were to buy something over the counter, thinking I'm going to save a little bit of money and this is pretty simple, you may end up with something then that's not correct for you, where now you do feel like you're in a tunnel, you hear all sounds that you're making that are annoying to you, and you're creating a worse problem for yourself. Yeah,
it is so dependent on the type of hearing loss. I have people who come to the office, and I'm glad that there's something that's affordable and accessible for people, so that, I mean, it's a gateway hearing device. It kind of, it gives people something that they can afford to start with to see how that works for them, but it may not be practical for long-term use forever.
Right.
But a lot of times people come in and they're like, I can't stand that thing in my ear, like like I feel like I hear worse when it's in my ear than I do when it's out. And that's because they might have a type of hearing loss that they're blocking that sound. And so it's just an amplifier. It's just making all sounds louder.
Right.
And so they're hearing themselves breathe, they're hearing themselves talk, they're hearing themselves chew, and it makes things louder. But it may be great for them watching TV because they're not talking or anything.
That's where your lifestyle comes back into play, I guess.
Yeah.
Okay, rewind. We have a couple of minutes left, but at the very beginning of our conversation, you mentioned that we're seeing an uptick in noise-induced hearing loss. We're getting into, before you know it, spring will be here. People will be out cutting their grass, blowing leaves away, that type of yard work stuff. That can cause hearing loss?
We live in such a noisy world right now that there are so many different areas that we don't even think about. I mean, but the lawnmower, the leaf blowers, the chainsaws, the yard equipment, then we have music, we have ball games and whistles. I mean, I went to a basketball game and there's so many different things. We go to church and it's loud. I mean, everything's loud now.
Movies you can't even hardly go to.
Everything is so loud. We got to protect our ears.
Kids and music, you can't separate it, and most of them have some kind of earphone that they wear. Do you like headphones or earpods?
It's all about the level that they're transmitting. Either one of them can be bad. They're not all necessarily bad because it just depends on the level that someone's listening to it at.
Okay.
That's probably, I mean, I'm sure that's a concern, but I'm more concerned about these kids in band and all of this noise, concerts or just the noise and things like that. I think that's more hurtful for their ears than sometimes the headphones. I don't know.
Okay, well that's good to know. That saved a bunch of arguments at home. That was good for you to say. Ahlberg Audiology, 2 locations, Cleveland and Athens. There are the phone numbers. Simply go online, ahlbergaudiology.com, get a baseline hearing test, and let her help you find the hearing device that's right for you. Don't be embarrassed.
I was waiting on the light to change for me to turn. A car ran the light and hit me. My husband came to the incident, took me to the emergency room because I had back and neck injuries. My husband saw the commercial with Jay and Brent on top of the 18-wheelers, and that's what brought us here. They were very friendly, walked us through the whole process with ease. I was very satisfied with them representing me. I would recommend them very highly.
If you've been hurt in a car wreck, call us. It's just that easy.
First time, no biggie.